What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about what makes you feel really British. Today, I want to take a look at this Reddit discussion where somebody asked, what makes you feel British? And a whole bunch of British people have responded to this question. They're saying, I think every country has its unique culture and history, and I think Germany has decent bread and cars and castles. France has cafes and wine and luxury. But what things do you think make you feel so very British? And I just thought it'd be really fun today to hear from British people about what kinds of things make you just ooze British culture. So let's take a look at some of the top answers here, starting with being hilariously sarcastic. Sarcasm. Is that just British culture encapsulated? Just if you're British, you have to be hilariously sarcastic. Well, I really like that. No one does dry humor like the British. So very true. So very true. I mean, as far as I know, like Britain is the only country that has its own phrase like British comedy, British humor, British sarcasm. Like literally, Britain is an adjective to describe like a type of comedy. And that says it all right there, I think. We do some amazing baking, cakes, pastries. Okay. We're not talking about humor anymore. This has a little bit of everything. That's fine. It just caught me off guard a little bit. So, what makes you feel really British? Being sarcastic, having dry humor, having some amazing baking, cakes, pastries. I've learned a little bit about the British pastries. They're very different to what we have here in America. So yes, I would say it's quite unique. I think in Britain you have a lot more like savory pastries or with like meat and I don't know, just stuff that's quite different to what we think of here in America. Usually we just think of like cake, like very sweet, sugary foods that are bad for you. That is our pastries. A lot of people hate to admit it, but we're proud to have a rich history of kings and queens. That's a great one as well. That's a great one. I really like that. Nobody acknowledges a royal family as they do the British one. Seriously, like, especially for us Americans, when we think of, like, royalty, royal family, monarchy, we think of British royalty. That's like the very first thing that comes to our mind. Even though there's royalty, there's kings and queens and royal families all over the world in lots of different countries, but especially for us Americans, when we think of royalty, we immediately think of Britain, like the Queen and now the King, and yeah, that is such a great answer, and so very true. That is such a great answer, actually, especially from my American point of view. This video isn't really about what Americans think makes someone really British or feel really British, but if I had to say what Americans would think, the royal family, royalty, some of the food, the humor, I would tend to agree with all of these so far. I think Britain is known for a lot of these things. So, really great answers so far. Let's keep going though. What makes you feel really British? Apologizing for someone else inconveniencing me? What? You're apologizing? You're apologizing for somebody else inconveniencing you. You were wronged, but you're apology. Is that a very British thing to do? Um, it's funny because I've heard that Brits do tend to like be apologetic or very respectful. It's a very good thing, honestly, and to say sorry about stuff. Whereas here in America, you will be hard pressed to find Americans who are going to apologize for inconveniencing you or say sorry or no, we don't like to give admissions of guilt or anything like that. And I also think just as I don't know, a community, a society, Britain is just a little bit more respectful of each other. I think that's true. Yeah, especially if you're at this level of apologizing when someone else this cracks me up. Inconveniences you, and you're like, I'm sorry. Okay. Also, once I thanked a cash machine. in, like an inanimate object? Like an ATM? A machine. You think, yeah, I mean, again, slightly embarrassing, but if I had to live in a world where it's people who are over apologetic, who are overly respectful, I would take that. I would take that rather than the inverse, the people who are just smacking cash machines like, you stupid cash machine, hurry up, give me my money. Yeah, I'd take the British way for sure. The British are going to be one of the few people who are preserved after the robot uprising. Exactly. Exactly. It's going to pay dividends of being so kind to the robots starting now, especially with AI and the way things are going. Start now. Start groveling at our AI overlords now. It might pay off. Anyway, what makes you feel really British? Arguably the best countryside in the world. Really? I've seen some videos of some of the UK countryside, like out in England, Scotland, for sure. I've seen a bit of that, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen. The best countryside in the world. Yes, is that something that British people do you think of when you're like, "Oh, what are some of the things I really love about Britain that are really unique?" Would you say the countryside? I don't think that's one that a lot of Americans necessarily think about immediately. So I actually like that. It's cool to hear some of the thoughts and opinions of British people here that you don't hear so much here in the United States. That's cool to hear this perspective. I hard agree. I've been all over the world, but something about all the meat fields? Meat fields? What exactly? Huh? What's going on in Britain? Meat fields? Did they mean to type wheat fields? Or I don't assume to know everything, you know. Meat fields? And hedgerows with rolling hills just gets me. Well, it sounds nice. I still don't know about these meat fields. The meat fields. What a disturbing image. Indeed. Indeed. Cool, cool. What else makes you feel oh so very British? Pubs and beer. Hard to beat. Yeah, this is a good one. I moved out of the UK, and it's really the only thing I miss. Wow, this person, above all else, above all things British, they most miss pubs and beer. I don't know anything about British beer, or if there's different brands or types, or what it tastes like, or what. That'd actually be interesting to learn about how British beer could be different to American beer. But the pubs I know are very, very different. I used to think that pubs were like our American bars, but now I know that's not really the case. Pubs seem to serve this totally different function in Britain. It's super unique pub culture, more like family friendly. You can go there at any time of the day. You might have food. Um, yeah. Whereas bars in America, it's like that is a nighttime activity only. It's for drinking alcohol. And it sounds like just a totally different kind of feel and vibe. I moved to the US at the beginning of the year, and I miss the pub culture in London. Everyone here thinks I'm an alcoholic. Back home, I'm just normal. Really? Do British people drink a lot, or because Americans drink a fair bit, like certainly. But to us, British people are alcoholics? Is this is this a thing? My God. Going way when somebody drops a tray of drinks. This makes you feel very British. Going way when someone drops drinks. Is this a thing? This is like a pub thing? Does everyone just know to do this? I've never experienced this before. I've never even seen it before. How exactly do you do it? Someone like a glass shatters, and everyone's like, "Way!" Like a horse? Am I? I think I'm going too horse there. Too much like a horse. Like, everyone be like, "What? Who the heck was that?" You just go like, "Way!" Something like that. I don't know. I don't know how this works. But that is very, very, very British. That is a good answer. Because we don't have anything like that here in America. In America, if somebody drops a tray or a glass and it breaks, you get absolute dead silence. Someone might scream, and then the awkward shuffling of trying to clean it up. that's what we have. What else makes you feel really British? Shared sense of humor, knowledge on how to cue. Ronnie Pickering. So okay, let's dissect this a little bit. A shared sense of humor, like we were saying at the very beginning, and I totally agree with this. Something that defines British culture is a huge part of it. British comedy, British humor, and it is like something that I think British people understand. Us Americans, I think we can appreciate it, but we don't like live it. The sarcasm, the wit, the humor, the banter. I've even heard in Britain that there's sometimes a culture of like making fun of your friends, which really means you love them. The more that you say you hate them, I don't know how true that is. Okay, knowledge on how to cue. The queuing. What makes you feel really British? A proper queue? I can only imagine. Queuing has come up quite a bit on this channel, actually. I see this one quite a lot, and I have to say it's one of the things I'm most jealous about. British culture has proper queuing. We call it waiting in line. Americans are terrible at it. What else can I say? Americans act like we've never seen a queue in our life. They will try to get in front of you. People will stand to the side of you rather than in a straight queue or straight line. It's baffling. I don't know what it is about our American culture, but I am jealous of the British queue. And honestly, British society seems to really respect it, which I respect. Man. And Ronnie Pickering? Well, no idea. No idea. I think I have to Google this. I'm going to try. Ronnie Pickering. UK? This is a person? What was Ronnie Pickering famous for? Let me make this a little bit bigger. 62-year-old Ronnie Pickering gained notoriety after his road rage video went viral? Is this correct? What makes you feel really British is a guy named Ronnie Pickering who had road rage in 2015? That makes you feel really British? I feel like I'm missing something. Does anyone say anything about Ronnie Pickering? No explanation. No idea about that one. Let's keep going. Let's take a look at a few more here. What makes you feel really British? Music is a big one for me. That's right. My gosh, these are such good answers. I can't believe it took this long to talk about queuing and this long to get to British music. I agree with people's take on pub culture as well. Embracing the multicultural society we live in, too, the UK would not be the country it is without our beautiful, diverse culture and society. Those were a bunch of good ones. Music, I want to point out specifically. British music. Britain and British artists are literally, I think, the only culture to break into the American mainstream music industry. Us Americans, we don't really listen to music outside of our country, except for, like, I don't know, Canada and the UK. And especially over the course of history, so many British artists have been so huge in America. This is a really great answer. Really great answer. Britain has some of the best musicians of all time, honestly. And like Britain is nowhere even as big as America. The population is much smaller, and yet it has arguably more famous musicians over the course of history. For sure. That's a great one. What else makes you feel really British? Self-deprecation. Us Brits are the masters of it. Self-deprecation, that you kind of bundle that in with British humor, I think. Self-deprecation. See, I really love this because it actually goes a little deeper when you think about it. A culture like Britain that is willing to do self-deprecation, it means you're willing to be humble, to be introspective, to criticize yourself, even if you're joking. Like, there has to be an element of introspection, even to joke about self-deprecation. Whereas in America, I think we're very, very reluctant to be critical of our views and our person, and we don't make jokes about ourselves that much. And if you go past the surface level, I think that says something about our cultures. I think it really does. The politeness. Okay. I'm in Latin America, and I really miss it right now. People here are usually very nice and friendly, but the culture is so much more direct than the UK. Really? Like in the UK, people are more polite, less direct, you won't exactly tell someone what you're thinking of them or what exactly you want to say. You're going to word your words. Is that a good way of saying that? You're going to word your phrases and sentences in a particular way so that you're cognizant of if you're offending the person, if you're being polite. Whereas in other parts of the world, people are just way more straightforward. There's pros and cons to that. In cultures where people are very, very straightforward, you're going to get your feelings hurt, but you're going to know people are telling you the truth and being straight up with you. Whereas in Britain, maybe people are much more polite and respectful, but maybe not exactly sharing their feelings on everything, like exactly as they are thinking. Does that sound correct at all? There could be pros and cons to that. Anything else? Not being invaded for 1,000 years. Our national parks, our pubs, our ale, our pies. A cuppa? That's like tea, right? Yeah, okay. That's pretty good. That is a pretty good list of stuff that just makes British people feel oh so very British. I thought this would be fun to take a look at, and I think I was right. This was quite enjoyable. Really cool hearing from British people, basically about some of Brits' favorite parts of British culture and things that you're proud of and make you feel British. And I really enjoyed this. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on what makes you feel British. That'd be very fun to hear from British people out there. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Britain and British culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.